All right, this is Joe Leigh here for Seconds Out with Craig, the Spider Richards, once again. It's good to see you. How have you been? Obviously, I spoke to you after the Buatsi fight. You were in the gym. Now you're still in the gym training again today. It's been non-stop for you.
Non-stop, you know me. I'm an athlete 24/7, 365. Just always working, grafting. There's always things to improve on, so that's what I'm doing.
And since the fight, obviously we've spoken already. But like, what have you actually been up to? Have you been like doing anything outside the gym, keeping your mind just fresh, staying kind of active outside the gym, if that makes sense?
Well, to be fair, the gym is not just my work; it's also my hobby as well. So the gym is where I find my comfort zone. I'm in the gym, been in the gym, relaxing a bit, training, eating, seeing family. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Obviously, this past weekend we've seen a big fight in the light heavyweight division. Artur Beterbiev, Joseph Jr. Beterbiev, everyone's raving about him right now. It was a really good performance from him.
Yeah, it was a good performance. He boxed well, he done what he needed to do. You know, Joe Smith's got a tremendous heart. He came forward, he tried to give everything, but he was just beaten by the better man, got caught with the shots. And Beterbiev's timing showed there. He showed he's an elite world-class fighter.
Obviously, put yourself aside, but who do you believe's the best at light heavyweight right now? I think it'd be out of Bivol and Beterbiev.
Yeah, two different stylistic fights. I would like to see it myself. They both bring two different styles, so yeah, it'll be interesting. Just as a fan, I'd like to watch it to see who is better out of the two, because they both possess different assets.
How would you match up against Beterbiev? We've seen you put in a good performance against Bivol, but Beterbiev, obviously, people will say, although Bivol beat Canelo, he's not a light heavyweight. A lot of people are saying Beterbiev's the best. How do you think you'd match up against him?
I think I'd match up against him great. I think a lot of his assets, he can punch. He's not like the most fast and explosive fighter, and he's not the quickest on his feet, but he can punch. I've got a good chin, so I wouldn't struggle too much in that department. I can punch myself, I can box. So yeah, I think I'll do pretty well. I'm always going to believe myself and back myself.
Of course. He's fighting Anthony Yarde, October, I believe it is. How would you actually see that fight going? It was obviously signed before the fight if Beterbiev won and he got the job done.
You know, it's boxing, anything can happen. Anthony's a good fighter at the end of the day. He's a good fighter. He can punch as well. He's got good speed, athleticism, so maybe he can use some of his assets. I think it'll be a good fight. I think Anthony can do well.
Who wins?
I'm going to back my countryman and say Anthony.
Do you think, obviously, he's been in there with Kovalev, and I can't remember the round, but he almost stopped Kovalev at one point. He looked like it was going to be the end over in Russia. He's got power, Anthony Yarde. Do you feel like if he was to win, and you say you back him, he could get that stoppage, and that's the best way we know he can fight? Do you think that would be the way he wins?
Well, yeah. I don't think he's going to outpoint him for 12. I think that Anthony will go for the stoppage, and anything's possible in boxing. We've seen Beterbiev be dropped by Callum Johnson, who can punch. Anthony can also punch. So Anthony's quick as well. He's got good speed for his size. So yeah, I'm going to back my man and say I'm rooting. I don't know if it's a biased view, but I'm definitely rooting for him, and I think he can do it. It's boxing.
In terms of the division being so stacked at the moment, is that like, do you feel like that's the best matchup at the top right now, other than obviously Beterbiev, Bivol?
Well, you got obviously everyone. They got the Beterbiev Bivol unification, but if I was Anthony, I wouldn't be concerned about that. I would want to fulfill my dreams and go for the shot I want to go for. So he's going to go for his shot, and then maybe Bivol make a defense also, and then maybe they can have a unification fight after that, possibly. And then hopefully I can get the winner of the unification. All 4 belts to me.
As for you, I know you said in our last interview, your best part of your career is to come. You feel like you're going to dominate the division, etc., etc. What's your plans as of right now? Late June?
I just want a massive fight this year. Massive fight. Get myself right back in the mix. And really, I think I've made the right adjustments now to really come through. And I think, obviously, it's a close fight. Everyone has their opinions on my previous fight, of how they feel it went. But personally, myself, I feel like everything for a reason, because it's made me sit back, assess, and think, you know what? I can't just come here trying to win fights. I've got to really dominate and make a statement when I'm fighting now. So it's changed my mindset, which make me change my training and add certain things into it. So that's what I'm doing now.
What fight makes sense for you, the most sense right now?
Any fight was going to get me back in the mix. You know me, I don't shy away from no one. I don't duck and dive no one. So whatever fight they say to me, this is the big fight, this will get you back in the mix, put me in.
Month, do you have anything like lined up in terms of this would be a good time for me to fight?
Probably looking about October. We're in coming to the end of June now, July, August, September. Yeah, so probably the next couple of weeks I'll probably step it up. Fully into camp properly right now, just ticking over, doing my sessions each day, 2 sessions or whatever a day, and just training. But we pick it up properly, so probably October will be a good time to have a big fight for me.
Is it going to be something world level, get you higher up the rankings, or domestic? We've seen you in a lot of domestic fights already.
Depends if it's a world level opponent there, suitable. If it's a high domestic opponent, whatever is the correct fight for me right now to get me, as I say, back into that mix, then I'm up for it. I leave that to the management and the promoter.
Obviously, yesterday we saw the press conference to AJ Usyk, the rematch as well. That's going to be in Saudi Arabia, no surprises. As for AJ, second time round, he's got Robert Garcia in his corner now, obviously. Yeah, trainer of the year in 2012 as well. Do you feel like he can make the adjustments necessary? Obviously, most likely AJ for the knockout is probably how people think he wins again. Do you think he can do it second time round?
I believe he can. I believe, like, if you think about it, before the first fight, everyone kind of said AJ was going to go in there, storm him, knock him out. Yes, he went in there with the wrong game plan and boxed the Usyk's, danced the Usyk's song. And I think he's realised that. And I think people got short minds when they say, oh, he ain't got a chance because you gave him a chance the first time, but he come with the wrong game plan. So now he's going to come with the right game plan. I believe that he can go out there and get the stoppage, I believe.
As for Fury, it kind of seems like he'll be coming back after all. No one's surprised at that.
No, we knew he wasn't ever retiring anyway. So, you know, Fury's a good fighter at the end of the day, but I know, like, when you look in history, to cement your name in the history books, you got to have more than 1 or 2 world level fighters that you've beat at world level to be like a legendary fighter. So I think he's obviously got more to do to be like a long-term all-time great, and I think he knows that he's a very clever guy. So I think he'll need to beat like the winner of maybe like Joshua Usyk to really like stamp his authority in our era.
Who's your favourite boxer of all time?
I've got a few, but I think like based on our era, there was obviously, I liked the Roy Joneses. I used to like the Mike Tysons. Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis is an all-time great. I think it's like very underrated. But Floyd Mayweather, he kind of changed boxing for a period of time. He made everyone get like back interested in boxing. So you got quite a few from the Lennox Lewises to the Floyd Mayweathers of this day and age. I used to like Roy Jones as well. The old school fighters, Thomas Hearns, Hagler, these sort of guys, you know, Ali and that had their days. So yeah, it's endless.
Yeah. And obviously with Mayweather, there was a few fights that couldn't happen. There was a fight with Pacquiao that took years to make. Currently, we've got AJ versus Fury. Well, do you think that fight can ever actually happen, though?
I think it will have to happen next. I think if AJ wins, it has to happen next. It's like, if you think about it, otherwise the fight just die in the end. It's like, if you look at it a couple of years ago, it was no such thing as Fury AJ. It was AJ Wilder, and that fight's died now. So we don't want to end up with that same situation again, because if AJ loses again or something, people will be talking about Usyk Fury is the fighter to make. So things change all the time. So we just need AJ to get the win and straight on get on Fury versus AJ.
All right, thanks for your time again, Craig.
No problem. Good speaking to you as always.